It's 3760. 3760 is he's got lifeless eyes. Black eyes like a doll's eyes. That's the nickname. I actually don't know if there's anyone other watching than Jerry, but anyways. Uh, Item SCP-3760. Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Subliminal Mimetic Agent Kappa Omicron SMA-K/L is to remain in global circulation propagated via a fabricated scientific fact that acts as a carrier. The Department of Misinformation is to suppress any notion that SMA-K/L's carrier may be untrue. If an individual ceases to believe that the carrier information is factual, they'll lose the effects of SMA-K/L and become susceptible to 3760's anomalous properties. To prevent a potential end of the world/KO failure scenario, all records regarding the nature of SMA-K/L's carrier have been restricted to Level 5 access. Description: SCP-3760 is an anomalous mutagenic phenomenon which affects the regrowth of human tissue in response to injury. Humans within proximity of a subject afflicted with 3760 run an ongoing risk of infection. However, 3760 does not appear to be microbial in nature due to the circumstances of its containment. The vector of transmission of 3760 has yet to be conclusively determined. The footnote is one widely held hypothesis proposed in 1922 suggests that 3760 may be spread through eye contact. Injured tissue in infected subjects and anomalous develop various forms of non-human biological features associated with members of the clade Slashomorpha. And the footnote 2 is diseased tissue has been observed to be affected in some cases. Such features most commonly include, but are not limited to, dermal denticles, scales in which structure is comparable to pointed teeth, benign cartilaginous growth, eyes with nictitating membranes, a translucent eyelid that moistens the eye while retaining vision, nasal ducts, teeth, and/or jaws. Sensory organs grown by affected subjects appear to be functional and respond appropriately to stimuli. These sensations are not directly experienced by the subject themselves. Other organs demonstrate similar independent functionality, including mandibles capable of mastication, involuntary self-injury from bites are frequent. Any matter consumed by an 3760 grown oral cavity will vanish despite the lack of observable connection to a digestive tract. These affirmation orifices will repeatedly seek edible material for consumption. This behavior intensifies in the presence of blood, may even include acts of auto-cannibalism. Fifth footnote is, with a notable preference for living or freshly deceased animal tissue. A failure to consume edible material at regular intervals will result in necrosis of the affected tissue. In turn, this necessitates the removal of the chronic tissue, which consequently leads to the emergence of additional 3760 mutations and orifices. Precise epidemiological statistics regarding the spread of 3760 are currently impossible to ascertain. Estimates by Foundation researchers place the saturation rate of 3760 to be between 71% and 92% of the global populace. SMA-K/L is proven capable of suppressing symptoms in most affected subjects, with only 7,285 recorded cases of 3760 activity observed between 1958 and 2016. Addendum. The following is a series of journal entries made by Dr. Keith Woodward, Chief Medical Officer aboard the USS Kirby. His patients are believed to have been the first victims of 3760. Uh, August 5th, 1922. Goodness knows, one of the worst at keeping records, but this feels important. Every instinct inside me says that something is very wrong. I had to write this all down while it's still fresh. Nobody knows Willis Riggs ended up in the water, least of all Riggs himself. Several men saw him heading below deck at 1521. At 1522, we had reports of a man overboard. It was Riggs. Nobody saw it happen. When they pulled him aboard, he said he couldn't remember anything that happened since breakfast. He was also missing a good chunk of his left foot. They asked me to examine him, of course. Sewed up his foot, put a cast on it, and then try to figure out why he couldn't remember anything. Concussion was my first guess, but besides the lost time, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with him. I told him to get some bed rest, and when he was gone, I called the higher-ups. Only explanation I could come up with was that he had simply stumbled overboard. It was possible he had gotten a hold of a drink, though he didn't look intoxicated. It was a strange case. Folks talked about it for a couple of days, but I didn't think too much of it. I had seen worse things happen. However, things kept happening. All sorts of accidents here and there. I didn't find out about most of it till later on. These aren't the type of men to go crying to the doctor for any kind of little thing. Worst case I had after the Riggs incident was some foolhardy kid with a black eye. About a week after he'd gotten his foot manged, Riggs came stammering back to my office. He said he hadn't been able to get any sleep the past few nights because of a noise. I told him that he ought to be used to putting up with noise at nights on a ship like this. He said it wasn't the loudness that kept him up, but where it was coming from. Then he propped his foot on my desk and asked me to listen to his cast. I gave him some pills and kicked him out. Figured his concussion was finally showing itself. And then, just last night, they dragged Riggs to my office again. He was screaming so loud you'd think he was on fire. They had to hold him down while I cut off his cast. I expected gangrene, or over 2 decades, I've seen some serious cases, smelled them too. But the miasma from inside the cast was the worst damn thing I've ever smelled in my life. It was like someone shit in a dead fish and left it in the hot summer sun for a week. The flesh around his foot was all kinds of black and green and maroon. There are these sharp tooth-like protrusions sticking out of the skin where I'd sewn them up. They chewed through the sutures in several places, leaving open gaps that exposed more rows of smaller, sharper teeth inside. I told Riggs and the others that his foot had gotten infected, had to scrap the whole thing up to the knee. Ever since the op, I can't sleep. It's been affecting my work, my judgment, even my eyesight. I've had this dark spot at the edge of my vision that keeps coming and going. Probably just needs to stop right and go to sleep. August 8th, 1922. They brought the kid with the black eye in again today. His right eyelid was swollen shut, blood tricked from it like a leaky faucet. I had to use pincers to peel the lid back. It wasn't just the swelling that kept it shut, it was those teeth again. They grown into the back of the lid and bit in. He started making jokes about his eye patch the moment I sent him on his way. Speaking of eyes, my eyesight has gotten worse. The dark spots moved to the center of my vision. It won't go away. Even when my eyes are closed, the colors don't dance in that one tiny spot. It's impossible the smell of Riggs' foot somehow burned my corneas. One of the men who helped bring him in, Ronnie Gaines, I think, said he'd been having headaches ever since that night. Wouldn't be a surprise if whatever the hell Riggs has is toxic. August 9th, 1922. I had 3 more men in today. No teeth this time, though. One of them had this rash going up his back. He said, itched like crazy. Looked like acne at first, and he did have some acne back there. But there were all these bumps, all in neat little rows, all tinted to the touch. I gave him some ointment. One of them had a growth on his big toe. Big chunk of something sticking out of the space on the left side where the nail ended. Looked almost like coral, except it was translucent and slightly rubbery. I cut it off. One of them had an earache. I looked inside and saw something look back at me. I told him it was his imagination. Dark spot on my vision keeps getting bigger. It's not even a spot anymore. It's a shape that keeps changing. Wish we had an optometrist. August 11, 1922. I told the higher-ups they thought I was crazy. I wouldn't shut up about it, though, so they locked me up. Riggs' leg tore a man's throat out there, so they let me go. August 18th, 1922. I have a little plate in front of me with bits of meat on it. Every few minutes I had a piece up to my left ring finger. The nail slides up and it bares its teeth. Push the meat in and it gets back to take care of the man. This is how things are now. Arabs told me to reassure the crew that we're going home. They don't want any more men jumping into the ocean. Risk spreading disease, they said. I followed orders, but I also mentioned that if they felt like jumping, come see me first. August 22nd, 1922. Ronnie Gaines died this morning. There's a hole full of teeth where his face should be. He'd been complaining of migraines for weeks. I figured something was growing in ahead of his. I just didn't think it could bite from the inside. Curious part is that the teeth are still gnashing. Guess it makes sense. Riggs didn't want to die when his foot had died. Why should the foot die if Riggs died? August 23rd, 1922. Riggs died. August 29th, 1922. What else is this say? I don't understand it. I can't heal it. I've already described it. No point writing now. I have mouths to feed. September 5th, 1922. I can see it more clearly now. still can't quite make out its features, even though it's all I can see. Looks like a person. It wasn't getting bigger. It's swimming towards me. And that's it of 3760. Let's go here. Get the thumbnail. Uh-oh. I already know your answer.
Sounds like something I want to read. Did I miss an interesting SCP?
Well, probably. I mean, it's a
Oh!
Keter.
Did they sexualize the disease?
Yes.
Oh. Should I read it very quickly?
Sure, go ahead. It's not long.
Okay. 3760?
Yep. So let's go to the let's go to the bingo.
Immunogenic phenomenon which affects the regrowth of human tissue in response to injury. Humans with proximity.
Mm-hmm.
Not microbial, so not like something like 610 or anything.
No.
But it definitely does not look okay.
Yep. They have pictures on the article.
Yeah, I see. Some of those look like pockmarks, some look like eyeballs and teeth just going in these random fucking spots.
Yeah. What's actually cool, because I looked at the bottom because I wanted to see the license or whatever, it doesn't have one. Like, I guess the artist wanted me anonymous or something, but it was updated this year, like a couple days ago, on the 30th of October. Then 6 days ago. Which is interesting.
Reading the description of the things that can grow are definitely interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Teeth-like scales, the nasal duct's teeth or jaws, eyes with translucent eyelids, benign cartilage growths. Oh.
Yep.
Sensory organs grown by affected subjects appear to be functional. Oh, that's weird. So if you grow an eyeball on your neck, it's fully functional? Oh.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting SCP.
So if you grow a mouth on your shoulder, it will seek edible materials.
Yep.
Oh.
And in a foot,
intensifies in the presence of blood. Oh.
Yeah, look at the footnote about when it talks about the mouth.
Oh, okay. Yep. So it's hungry for flesh, and it will even eat your. It will even chew you if it does not get it.
Yep.
And you'll rot if you don't eat flesh.
Yeah, so this SCP is already very violent and very gory. So yeah, are you ready to watch the video?
Yeah.
Alright. I forgot this is what it starts off with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but before we do it, I already know the answer. But, yep. Copyrighted and no license.
Bad.
Copyright deleted video. No license given. Oh! I just looked. They have the wrong name. It says wrong name / number.
Oh.
They have the number correct, but they don't have the actual nickname. The actual nickname is really kind of disturbing.
What's the nickname?
Hold on, I can pull it up real quick. Alright, 3760. He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. That's the nickname.
Sounds pretty accurate, but also terrifying.
Yeah. Be ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is probably my last video. Damn it. Not like that. If anyone finds this video, know that I am the last survivor of the Pride of the Seas ship. My name is Kid Woodward, and I am the doctor of the Pride of the Seas cargo ship.
Wait, it was the USS Kirby, not Pride of the Seas.
Goodness.
And like, the USS Kirby is like connected to other SCPs too, because I think it was like with the teeth one. I think it was also called USS Kirby.
Yeah, it was.
So that means multiple diseases happen on that ship.
Well, to be fair, I don't think the teeth one was really being acted as a disease so much as only one infected, and she was a fucking psycho.
Yeah. Here we go.
Rather, I was a doctor.
We were heading home from Japan with 5,000 containers of cargo. There were 12 people in our crew. Everything was going according to plan until 300 miles north of the Hawaiian Islands. We picked up a passenger.
Do they not know
That's when
how
it all
boats
started.
work?
Guess not, but hold on, I want to go back with the names. Let's see, they're Lewis Friggs. Wait, hold on, what's the name of the writer? Keith Woodward. Oh. I thought there was like a guy who had a Russian-like name. Ronnie Gaines or something like that. I'm sorry, I thought, never mind. I'm probably thinking of the teeth one, because the teeth one had more Russian crew than...
It did.
Yeah.
The
Never
first
mind,
to
my
notice
bad.
the girl was Chief Mate
That's me.
Keats. Her body was rocking on the waves on our left. She wasn't moving. We could have missed her if it hadn't been for her bright life jacket.
Wait, this is the first time ever. It was a dude. It was a dude. They replaced it.
They had to add boobs.
So character removal. That's the first time ever they got rid of a male character. That's insane.
They needed floating boobs.
I'm not sure if they'll contact anti-men yet. We'll have to see if it gets worse.
I don't consider it anti-men yet. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
From what you showed me before, I think they're going to add boobs to this.
Yeah.
A storm was approaching, and everything around us was gray, both the water and the sky. Yeah, she got really lucky. When we brought the girl aboard, she was unconscious, but alive. I didn't know how much time she had spent in the water. 2, 3 days? The crew helped carry her to the sickbay, and she soon regained
I'm going to
consciousness.
comment no one would
The girl-
live 2 to 3 days floating in water.
No, they wouldn't. They would have to be completely out of the water to
Yeah.
survive. Because I'm pretty sure over a period of time of water being
But
on
let's not talk
skin...
about what happens to human skin and flesh when coated in seawater
Right.
too long.
So anyways, we can do 2 more. Deviated plot. added unneeded plot. Deviated already at a minute. Jesus Christ.
The girl's name was Melissa, and she was from Seattle. I tried to find out what had happened to her, but she had big gaps in her memory. The last thing she remembered was being on vacation with her friends in Hawaii. It happens sometimes. People go into shock as a result of a stressful situation. I decided to examine Melissa after noticing a bloody bandage above her knee. I was expecting anything, but what I actually saw
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm not sure if you read the article, that far down article, but it was several days before they found this. It wasn't immediate. It was several days.
I did not get that far, but I just said don't do that because the way they were having him like badly unwrap the leg, it made it look like well, just think of this. He was in front of a woman unwrapping something off of her and then he gasped.
Yeah.
Why are they over-sexualizing someone with a body part that eats flesh?
Okay, one thing I'm glad is that they didn't give two lips with teeth. They actually did what it says in the article. Just like pointing out teeth at random in the flesh. Anyways, let's continue.
It was an ordinary wound. She could have gotten it by hitting something sharp, but when I took the first aid kit to clean up the cut, I noticed teeth. What the hell? Small, sharp teeth were growing from the edges of the wound, like it was a real jaw. I touched them with tweezers, and I swear, the edges of the wound slammed shut, as if they wanted to bite me.
Do you hear it?
Melissa suddenly asked.
It's calling.
I tried to hear what she was talking about, but there was nothing but the measured noise of the engines.
It's not supposed
No.
it doesn't call? It doesn't call? That's not a side effect?
I think it's more talking about the end or something like that. I'm trying to see if it, because I don't remember it talking about it.
Well, I read urges that you get in needs or something.
Yeah.
But I did not read, like, the voices are calling for your flesh.
Yeah.
It demands that I help it get out.
The girl sat up on the couch. Apparently, the consequences of being in open water were quite serious. After returning, she would need to go to a psychiatrist. I gave the girl a sedative and left her to rest.
Why did they make her demented?
I don't know. Also, the wound was below the knee, not above it.
Well, they wanted to, you know, strip a woman.
Yeah, and also they cut off the leg.
Well, they can't cut a woman's leg off. She's too sexy.
Then, I went to my cabin and started reading my medical books. I looked through everything I could think of, but couldn't find any explanation for what it could be. At that moment, they called me and asked to come back at once. Chief Mate Heeds needed my help. I ran there. Something crazy had happened in the sickbay. Melissa was huddling in a corner, and Heeds was clutching the wound in his neck and screaming like crazy. "Let go! Let me see!" I shouted. It was a bite. A part of the Chief Mate's neck had been bitten off. The wound wasn't deep, but quite large. While I was stitching up Heeds, he said he had decided to check if everything was okay with the girl. That's when he had seen the strange wound on her leg. Bent over to examine it, and at that moment, she had bitten him with her leg. It sounded absurd. I glanced at the quiet Melissa. She was looking around, scared.
Can you hear it? It's close. It's calling all of you.
That was too much. It was time to declare a state of emergency. I
It
told the
doesn't call
captain that there were
people.
2 seriously
Yeah.
wounded
It's not
on board and we
alive.
needed to go to the nearest
Yeah.
port at once. But he said that a storm was approaching and he wasn't going to risk the cargo for the sake of 2 people. A few hours later, the captain regretted his decision, but it was already too late. By that time, 4 more team members had been injured. Turned out that the mouths that had appeared all over the sailors' bodies had to be fed. Otherwise, they would find food themselves.
Everyone on board started to panic. I had to treat more and more people. Horrified, I noticed that not only teeth could appear in the wounds. When one of the sailors took off his shirt, I almost screamed in shock. Several eyes were staring at me from his back. Soulless, black eyes.
None of those
They
are black.
weren't human, more like shark eyes. All the infected started to hear someone's voice, that someone was calling them and ordering them to do something. I
Still
I
don't know
noticed
how
they
that
make it
infection.
less sexy when they add it to the guys. Huh.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether to click added gore or violence, because it's showing what it does.
Well, it's showing what it does, but it's also things that didn't actually happen.
Yeah. The bite on the back neck did happen. Someone was bit on the neck.
Well, then I
Infection is
guess no
transmitted.
added violence yet.
Yeah.
But it was definitely not microbial or viral. Some weren't even bitten. The captain just cut himself while shaving.
How
And
would
an
you
hour
know
later,
if it wasn't
a small eye was
microbial or
staring
not?
at
You wouldn't know. Who
Yeah.
the fuck are you?
Yeah. And plus, like earlier in the article, it's pretty much theorized that it's through eyesight. Just like seeing it.
Oh.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, at the very beginning, it said. Security information fatal includes effects. Blah, blah. I think it said somewhere about it being eyesight. But, anyways.
out of the cut. I had been lucky so far. There wasn't a single scratch on my body. But by nightfall,
Things became very hard. We were in the eye of the storm. The ship was being thrown from side to side. None of the crew were doing their duties anymore. They were either looking for food for the mouths that had grown on their bodies or talking to someone I couldn't hear. But worst of all, the girl we had pulled out of the water in the morning
Talking
had
to
disappeared. All of us.
yourself is not something that it causes you to do.
Yeah.
Sudden, the light went out. The sick bay was immediately plunged into complete darkness. The engine stopped, and I felt the ship begin to lose speed. I don't know what had turned off the power on the entire ship. It didn't matter. I just wanted to stay alive. That's why I'd immediately run along the passageways to the upper deck. Several times I had met crew members who had gone insane and were eating each other. Chief Mate Heeds attacked me in one of the passageways. He was screaming that he was hungry, that he had to feed all the mouths or they would eat.
I'm gonna say this because I play Resident Evil games. The thing with his left right shoulder, that's a Resident Evil eye. They're starting to make him look like Resident Evil creatures.
Magical.
Yeah.
Eat him. Using the flashlight, I saw the teeth clattering in the mouths on his body. I pushed Heeds away and ran on. I'd almost reached the upper deck when something suddenly appeared right in front of me. The figure is covered with mouths all over. It looked at me with dozens of eyes.
Oh my
Truly,
god.
Master, this is the last one. He will become a part of you too.
The single human mouth on that monster said it, and I recognized it by its voice. It was Melissa. It was her. Or rather, what she had become. The creature ran towards me. I bolted as fast as I could.
You have nowhere to run. Give it your body.
That doesn't even look like an
You
infected
behind me.
anymore.
The
Her
distance
vagina
between us
wouldn't
was rapid.
magically vanish away.
Yeah.
Closing. With the last of my strength, I tumbled out onto the deck and saw a huge number of containers. I decided to hide, tore off the seal from one of them, and ran inside. The heavy door closed, and I hid. I could hear heavy footsteps outside. The creature was looking for me. Everything seemed to be quiet. Another wave hit, and the deck tilted. I heard the cable break, and everything turned upside down. A few seconds of free
I'm
flight,
guessing the
and the
article
container
never
hit the
had
water.
someone, like, hide with a car at any point.
Yeah.
Water starts pouring in through the cracks at once. Damn it, I'm drowning. I rushed to the door, but couldn't get it open. The water was quickly rising. There was
Yeah, no shit, you're gonna drown. You're in a metal crate. The water pressure's gonna make sure those doors don't open.
Mm-hmm.
You're as good as dead. Also, why was not the metal crates tied down?
I bet he'll magically get out anyway.
less and less air. It seemed that this was the end. My head was spinning. I realized that I could barely breathe anymore. I started to gasp for air. This went on for several minutes. And then I felt an impact. The container had hit the seabed. That was it. I had enough air for maybe 3 minutes. As I was losing consciousness, I saw the door open.
Oh my God.
2 people in atmospheric diving suits were behind it.
I don't know how they managed to make it in time. They might have been following the ship.
There was a research station at the bottom of the sea,
Oh,
right
fuck's
under the
sake.
ship. They called themselves the SCP Foundation. I couldn't believe my luck. It turned out later, I'd got excited too early. I woke up on a bed in the medical bay. A woman in a white robe and with a badge on her chest was sitting next to me. Where am I? What happened?
You were drowning. We saved you.
It took me a few seconds to remember what had happened to me.
The woman's voice feels off. Is it just me?
That's because it sounded deadpan.
Are you from the Pride of the Seas transport ship?
The woman asked. Yes, my name is Kid Woodward. I am a doctor.
Great. Mr. Woodward, was there anyone else uninfected aboard your ship?
No, everyone else turned into those creatures. Wait, how do you know what happened to us?
That's not important.
The woman replied and pressed a button next to the bed. 2 soldiers immediately walked into the room, grabbed and started dragging me along the long corridors of the underwater station. No! What's going on? Let me go! I was locked in a cell. Only then did I realize I was in captivity.
New here? The sooner you accept that we are all already dead, the better.
I heard a voice on the left.
Did
A
they
woman
just
in
give
an
her the
orange
same
jumpsuit
fucking
was
voice?
sitting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to hit the AI one, but it sounds similar to a woman AI voice to me.
It
could.
did, as if they couldn't find any real women, so they used an AI. Okay, press play.
Wait, I want to see something very funny. The first comment down, because I wanted to see if anyone admitted to being a female voice actor. First comment. Seems the SCP forgot to contain part of their name on this one.
Oh no.
Yeah, I already find this funny.
In the cell next to mine. She was looking at me indifferently. What's going on? What do they need us for?
You haven't realized yet? For experiments, it will be our turn soon, and we will become just like them.
She pointed further into the hall. I saw a few more cells against the far wall. There were infected people inside. One of them was completely covered with toothy jaws and rushing about his cell. The second one was in an even worse condition. He was lying motionless on the floor, and it seemed he was eating himself. The sight almost made me throw up. What kind of disease is that?
They say they
The Foundation wouldn't do this.
They would not do it.
It's already been deemed end of the world scenario if spread infection, which means they wouldn't be testing with it. Kind of like with
In
610.
fact, they'd probably destroy any infected.
Yeah, like with 610, it's an end of the world virus, and they just decide to lock it up or kill any infected.
Yeah.
They don't just constantly infect people. Okay, so this is added violence and gore already.
I'm just saying, from what I'm getting so far from the two videos, is they like to depict the SCP Foundation as people who do not care about the life and death of others at all, and it feels like a disconnect from what the Foundation is.
Yeah, and plus there's a whole, I don't know, probably the ethics committee, who sometimes has more power than O5.
Also, I'm going to comment that why would they keep something that's end of the world class scenario, not dead? Why would they infect people with that? Like, oh, it's the end of the world, let's infect people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They found it here, at the bottom of the ocean. Some kind of abnormal mutagenic phenomenon. They even...
It's unknown where it came from.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It said how it spread or where it's from were all unknown.
Yeah. It's unknown. I mean, it's theorized came from the ocean because the first infected came out of the ocean with it.
Yeah, theorized is different than totally from there.
Right.
even named it SCP-3760. The station was built so that they could study it.
The woman said that a young girl from Hawaii used to be in my cell. She had been crying all the time, so she had been given an amnestic. And then they wounded her leg to see what would happen. But apparently, not all her
That they
memory
would
had been
not
erased.
do that.
Because
Right.
3 days ago, she had somehow managed to escape. She had got to the escape pods and made her way to the surface.
But don't get your hopes up. They've tightened security after that incident. Only Melissa had got lucky, says the woman.
Melissa? Could it be that girl we'd caught in the sea? I didn't tell her that Melissa was no more. She had become a monster. I started to think of an escape plan. I got lucky again. I found tweezers in my inner pocket. They were so narrow the Foundation employees hadn't found them while searching me. That was my chance.
That's unrealistic.
I showed them to my
Yeah.
neighbor, and she immediately got
Why
closer.
wouldn't the Foundation
Give-
use something to scan for metal?
Right, and I'm pretty sure Foundation can afford metal detectors. If that was an issue.
If the airport can, so can they.
Yeah.
Give them to me. I used to be a break-in specialist.
A couple of minutes, and the lock on her cell clicked. The door opened. She immediately started to work on my lock.
Let's run.
Shouted the woman, and we rushed down the corridor. But we hadn't run far when we turned the corner, and the
I'm sorry, but
Foundation
that was not
soldier
a
saw
shout.
us.
Yeah.
It's like this quiet, let's run.
Yeah, the thing is, the Foundation, if you break out of a cell, an alarm immediately sounds. Like, the Foundation knows. Like, every door has an alarm.
Yeah.
They started running after us. Damn it! I didn't
Also,
want
they
to die
wouldn't be
there.
that easy to pick.
Yeah.
Not even MacGyver could get through one.
Yeah.
The way to the escape pods was cut off, and we ran to the other wing on the lower floor. The soldiers were right behind us. Finally, we reached an airlock. It led
Now
to a
they
long
chose
corridor on the
secure doors,
seabed. There
now-
were signs in front of
Yeah.
I mean, they're not SCP doors, but they're still more secure, and that kind of infuriates me.
Yeah. And plus, if the guards saw them running, they'll be like, alright, they're dead. Start shooting.
Yeah.
the entrance, saying that a danger zone was lying ahead. Only employees with level 2 security clearances were allowed inside. It was a dead end. We had nowhere else to go at that moment. Soldiers rushed in and tackled that woman. She resisted as best she could, but they quickly got her to the
Oh
ground.
my gosh,
And
they
then
gave her big
she tore off
tits.
a badge from an electronic key from one of the
Their
attacker's
boobs
belts and
looked
threw it to
normal
me.
until they did
Find
that, so
that
I feel
thing.
like it's just
Avenge us all.
over-sexualization.
I didn't wait for
Yeah.
the soldiers to catch me.
See, they
so
look basically
I quickly opened the
flagging.
airlock and started running
Yeah.
along the illuminated corridor. It was apparently leading to some underwater rocks. I had almost reached the second airlock when I suddenly heard
Oh wait, I
screams
just
behind
realized
me.
bad voice acting. There we go.
Don't go in there.
The soldiers had stopped and were no longer following me. Not only that, they had also ran back, terrified. Damn it, there was no turning back. I had to keep moving. There were diving suits for underwater research in the second airlock. I decided to put one on just in case. When the airlock doors opened, I saw a natural flooded cave leading down. I dived and swam forward. After a few yards, I noticed a light and stepped out of the water into a large cavern. It was something like an air pocket. Equipment was scattered around. They had apparently been researching something there. At that very moment, I heard a voice
dived.
right
Just
in my
felt
head.
like bad grammar. I
Yeah.
dived. I can't get it out of my head. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I dived.
I started to look around in fear, and the cave
Not
walls suddenly
dove.
came to
I
life.
dived.
Thousands of eyes were staring at me and smiling with their mouths full of teeth. It
This
was
is
all
not in the article.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is based off the very end, where apparently something came to the ship.
Yeah, but the something looked like a person. It was an
Right.
infected. It was not rock. It was not deep sea thing. It was just an infected.
Yeah.
around me. I ended up right inside that thing.
Become a part of me. Let me out into the world.
Oh yeah, wrong
That voice
SCP
in my
design
head
right
was
now.
giving me orders, and it felt like I couldn't disobey.
Oh my
it.
god.
Suddenly, I noticed movement.
It's a Resident Evil creature. Should we let's put to a vote. Should we do wrong SCP design?
Yes.
Alright.
Also, I feel like we should put anti-woman because they've just weirdly sexualized them so many times.
Yeah.
Like, man.
In one of the caves leading to the chamber, a huge creature, similar to a man but covered with toothy jaws from head to toe, walked out of it. A second monster appeared from another cave. They cut off my way out.
Don't fight us. Give us your body.
I
Also,
heard the
why
voice
is
in
his
my
helmet
head again.
gone?
Terrified, I backed away.
I
had
don't
nowhere
know.
to run. Would I
If the
really
helmet
turn
was
into
gone,
such a
shouldn't
horror?
he be drowning?
Unless he's like in a undersea cavern with air. For some
It
reason.
doesn't look like it has air, but then again, they're not treating it like there's water.
Right.
Creature? All of a sudden, I
Maybe
saw a
they just
small
don't know
pool.
how water works.
And something like a bathyscape at the far end of the chamber. Was that my chance? I couldn't believe in such luck and rushed to it. I'd almost reached the bathyscape when one of the creatures fell right in front of me from somewhere above. I didn't have any time to react. The jaw bit into my shoulder with a crunch. I screamed in horror and pushed the creature away. Ignoring the pain, I jumped into the bathyscape and got out of there.
If it bit him, he probably, due to all the metal here, he would have been fine.
Yeah, also, if he was bitten, where's the mark? On the metal, on the flesh? Where?
Right.
I don't see a
Voice
mark
in
on
my
the
head.
metal, a mark on the skin. I don't see a single hair out of place.
Yeah, also, why does he have two black eyes?
Some people have black eyes, but oh, you mean the weird pooches under the eyeball? I have no idea. And it's
Head
so
kept
black, it looks like someone punched his face in.
Yeah, that's what I meant, because that's usually what I hear when someone gets like that purple stuff around their eyes. They got a black eye.
Well, typically, if it's something natural on their face, it's a lot lighter than pitch black.
Yeah.
Ordering me to come back. Don't think about it. Don't listen to it. And then, the cockpit of the bathyscape was filled with the sound of the alarm signal. The indicator blinked red. What the hell? No! Damn it! The bathyscape was breaking
Now
down.
his helmet's back.
I could see parts falling off it through the windows. Come on, just a little more. By some miracle, I swam out of the cave. That same instant, the
Now it's gone
engines
again.
turned off.
What the fuck?
bath escape simply fell apart. I noticed a familiar-looking orange
Now it's
parcel
back.
lying next to me. A life raft. I grabbed it and got out. And then I noticed a signal. My suit was no longer airtight. Teeth had left huge holes on the shoulder. It started to fill with water and
Where?
dragged me to the bottom. I quickly pulled off my diving suit, took a breath, and started swimming up. I could already see the surface. I swam to my salvation with the last of my strength, and I did it. I surfaced and gasped for air. When I caught my breath,
it
I
wasn't
realized
visible on any of the metal, but it caused the suit to fall apart.
No, he was taking it off because apparently it was filling with water.
Okay.
I was alone in the middle of the ocean. I pulled a rope. There was a hissing sound and the raft inflated. I fell on it and passed out from exhaustion.
That's how I survived. 2 days have passed since that moment. But
There's
nobody
the
has found me
eyes.
yet. There is no signal here. I really hope the rescuers will come soon. I'm running out of food, and I need to feed myself and all these nasty mouths. I got infected after all. I'm scared. What will happen when I run out of food? I really need the rescuers to come. The voice says they are pretty tasty.
That's not how it works.
Right, and now we're looking at the Foundation. Becca Thompson. Oh my god.
Gentlemen, experiment D002 was successful. The subject was allowed to escape from his containment cell. A chase was staged. We led him into the cave containing SCP-3760. Observation has shown that people don't get infected through bites. The subject began to hear SCP-3760's voice even without any wounds on his body. It is possible that the anomalous object chooses the victim it possesses itself. Here are his current coordinates. The merchant ship, Atlantic, is moving in his direction. In 3 hours, they will meet. And experiment D003 will begin. Kid Woodward will be ours once again.
We might have missed something from the previous 2 episodes.
I don't feel like we did.
Like, are you gonna make a story where the 05 is the bad guys?
I guess.
Just like First Lucius, except it's only 2 in First Lucius, but apparently the entire 05 is evil in this series.
Also, it sounds like you watched like an SCP video while I was gone, because I thought we only watched one before now.
We did, but remember, I didn't do 087 or 2863 without you.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
That's why I miss, like, did we miss something?
Sorry about that.
You're fine. Oh yeah, click take thumbnail 4.
It was for you.
Alright, so,
Removal of characters in license is also for.
yeah.
I feel like they didn't really add any gore, but they somehow added gore. Like one or two.
Yeah. Davis reported an article of 4.
Or
Only men in the video / offensiveness.
they added women in such a weird degree that it was, they were over sexualized. I'd have to say, because of how sexualized they did the women, it has to be a 2.
As soon as they removed the man, they had a woman.
They did remove a man and added a woman. So would you? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with
Do
that.
you think it's 2-2, or do you think it's a different number?
I think it could go fine with that, because they didn't go too bad, like Professor Lucius bad.
Yeah, they were flashing boobs. They were pushing up boobs. They were showing thighs, but they weren't showing anything else. Man, those women sounded dead. That had to be AI or something. I don't think a person can sound that dead unless they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
That had to be AI.
It's a good thing I had the use of AI, even though we didn't click it on the video. I wasn't sure until the end.
They definitely used AI, yeah.